Hey guys, my name's Caleb with binaryPBX, and today we are going to be discussing some very odd issues concerning SANGOMA S500 and S705 phones and some two-way radios. Shall we dive in? So a few weeks back, we deployed a multi-site free PBX phone system for a business with about 4 locations. It may have been 3, it may have been 4. Don't quite recall. We deployed using both SANGOMA S500 phones and some SANGOMA S705s for the managers and such, you know, the bigger people. They were using these radios from RCA, the XR150s. They operate with 2 watts of power in the UHF 450, 470 megahertz bands. They called us after it was deployed and said, hey, our location, let's call it Lazy Town, can hear Busy Town on their radio. And it's coming through the phones on speaker. I was quite shooketh, as you might expect, because it just doesn't make sense, you know. They're not networked radios, they're just standard UHF radios, and they only have 2 watts of power. No way they can traverse the 50 miles between locations, right? So I looked at the CDR reports on the free PBX system, and I saw that this one extension, which happened to be the extension that's always next to a phone or always next to a radio, was calling 500, which was the default page group, and the page group in the location that was able to hear. So I still didn't really believe them. It just didn't make sense that a radio could cause that level of interference. So I was like, can you send me a video? Because it's not that I don't believe you, but I don't believe you. And they happened to send me a video. And let's watch it. So as you can see there, you press down on the radio talk button, it picks up the speaker and it dials 500. And in this example, after we change the default page group, of course, Allison comes on and says your call cannot be completed as dialed, mostly because extension 500 no longer exists. I was very weirded out. So I messaged one of my acquaintances that I know works with a lot of two-way radios. He happens to work with the Motorola XTS 2500. This is a public safety radio. It's mostly for police, fire, EMS, those types of things, you know, just standard public safety. And he happened to have a SANGOMA S705 available to him next to the radio. He went to use the radio, and this happened. He pressed the talk button on his radio and it dialed star 204. He got to a extension's voicemail box just by pressing the radio. So now we have 2 different radios. He also happened to test the Motorola APX UHF R2 that operates in the 420 to 520 megahertz bands. This Motorola radio happens to operate in the 700 megahertz band, and it's a VHF radio. His SANGOMA 705 had Wi-Fi and Bluetooth disabled because the 705 is compatible with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. However, for the client with the XR150s, disabling Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on the S705s fixed the problem. For the XTS, it did not. However, the XR150 was interfering with the S500 from SANGOMA that doesn't have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Very strange, right? So I did a bit of research, and I came across this this forum post in April 2017. Chad Taylor mentions that he has some UHF radios operating in the 450 to 468 megahertz bands. As long as the radio isn't within about 2 feet, and that's the same experience that we're seeing here too. As long as it's not within about 2 feet, it works. It doesn't cause anything. However, if it is, it dials random buttons, and sometimes it even reboots. Tony Lewis responded, of course, we have Part 15 certification, which is the must accept interference from other sources. You know, just a standard FCC warning. He mentions that his GSM phone caused a Polycom conference phone, not a SANGOMA phone, mind you, a Polycom conference phone, to act up. And there's some other person, yeah. So Showlight mentioned that he had some S700s, and they were rebooting uh, when you press the radio button. And that's even stranger because now you have a phone that's rebooting. It's not just calling a random extension. It's not picking up speaker. So I talked to a Sangoma engineer off the record. And this Sangoma engineer told me that this isn't just going to be a simple software fix, because it isn't. It's interference. It's radio interference. Now, how do you guys feel? Do you think Sangoma should be held responsible for this and be forced to replace the phones with working phones that don't interact? You know, I feel, because you do have to have it so close, it's between a foot and 2 feet, that you have to be that close, which is really close. I kind of feel like maybe Sangoma should be allowed to just kind of say, yeah, you keep your phones away from your radios. How do you guys feel? Nonetheless, if you're looking for a phone that won't interact, we sell Sangoma phones. So if you don't have two-way radios, you can use those Sangoma phones. And we also are doing hosted VoIP with Yealink phones. $25 per user per month gets you a nice T42S, or T40P, I'm sorry. It's a great phone. It works really well. Has 3 line keys. And it'll do the majority of your uses. And probably won't interact with your radio. I'm going to be reaching out to Sangoma today on this and see what they say. But I am very interested to hear your comments. Please leave them down below. And please do not forget to subscribe. If you have any other questions on VoIP or anything FreePBX, Sangoma, Yealink, Polycom related, give us a call today, 888-338-4212. Or you can visit us online at binaryPBX.com. Thanks again.